In a small town, lost among the snowy fields, a terrible story happened. Every year, on the eve of the New Year holidays, residents began to notice strange phenomena. Their New Year's toys began to move on their own. Moans and noises came from the gifts, and buildings made of snow took frightening forms. It all started when one little boy discovered that his toy soldiers started moving and making whispers. The next day, his sister found her doll, which also began to take steps around the room. Residents of the city began to get nervous. What is happening to their houses and gifts? But the fears of popular opinion were confirmed when one night a mysterious ghost appeared in the city. He let out flickering light and whispered curses in a creepy voice, filling the hearts of the inhabitants with fear. The next morning, the townspeople found traces of his presence, the shapeless knuckles of a snowman in the center of the city, eerily reminiscent of the cursed symbols. Suddenly, events took an even more terrible turn when the disappearances of residents began. It is obvious that ghosts possessed not only toys and gifts, but also the most peaceful residents. The city was mired in fear and sleepless nights when shadows and strange sounds filled the streets. Now the residents of the city have to uncover the mystery of the sinister ghosts and save their fellow citizens from their black magic. But will they be able to defeat the forces of evil that are decomposing right in front of their eyes? Or will they have to leave their hometown to escape the threat? Time will tell what will happen in these incredible New Year's events. With each passing day, the townspeople became more scared, but also more determined. They gathered for an urgent meeting at the local castle to discuss how they can resist the sinister forces that have taken over their city. At the meeting, it was decided to organize an expedition to dangerous territories outside the city, where, according to rumors, ancient magicians lived, able to resist ghosts and unravel the mysteries of the dark world. Despite the strong fear, several brave citizens agreed to go on this long journey. They set off following snow-covered trails and hidden gorges. But the path was far from easy. The townspeople encountered gloomy forests, which, according to rumors, were inhabited by the spirits of the dead, and icy rocks on which, according to local legends, cursed ghosts built their temples. One day, during their dangerous journey, some kind of light appeared on the horizon, from which all other shadows faded. Coming closer, the townspeople discovered an ancient abandoned sanctuary, which turned out to be the home of an ancient magician known for his abilities of turning and exorcising evil spirits. This magician agreed to help the townspeople, but they had to pay a high price for meeting him. He imposed difficult tests on them, and this is what showed their level of determination. Despite all the difficulties, the townspeople were able to go through all the trials, and the magician finally opened the way for them to banish the sinister ghosts. But to do that, they needed to find an ancient artifact capable of breaking the curse. Thus, the townspeople will have to embark on a dangerous journey filled with power and magic to unravel the secrets of the ancients and find a way to defeat the sinister ghosts that inhabit New Year's toys, gifts, and buildings made of snow, carefully overcoming all obstacles and trials on the way to the ancient temple. The townspeople faced unprecedented horrors and secrets that guarded this sacred place. When they finally reached the majestic gates of the temple, they were greeted by a cold wind, carrying with it the ominous whispers of the dead and the howling of spirits. Once inside, a group of intrepid townspeople found themselves in a maze of dark corridors winding underground. The tunnels were littered with traps and dangers, and their walls were hung with ominous scrolls with forgotten curses and gloomy predictions. The forces of evil residing in the temple objected in every way and misled the heroes. But despite all the difficulties, the group was still able to find an ancient artifact that they thought had the power to break the curse that had enveloped the city. However, when they tried to leave the temple, the outer darkness that awaited them stopped them. It turned out that the spirit of the ancient magician of the solved trials did not consider it sufficient to be able to use the artifact. And in order to seize this power, the heroes must go through the final, most terrible, last, and terrible, inevitable and unique, for each, a separate test. Those left without hope dug into the wall of the Forgotten Temple. The heroes realized that their suffering was just beginning, and the shadow of their predecessors reminded them that this path had been traversed by them many years ago. Now the townspeople will have to fight with mystical creatures and evil ghosts who persistently protect the temple in order to get through this ordeal and get closer to their goal. When the heroes entered into a terrible battle with mystical creatures, they remembered the long-forgotten legends that the temple was created as a testing place designed to test the true strength of will and spirit. They realized that each of them was facing their own inner fear of the test, and if they did not overcome their own fears, they would not be able to take over the power contained in the artifact. Mystical creatures mercilessly attacked the heroes, embodying visual and auditory illusions, causing fear and confusion. Streams of darkness and twilight merged into bizarre figures of terrifying creatures bursting from the depths of the subconscious of the heroes. But, straining their will and spirit, the heroes sought strength in their inner light and found the courage to fight their fears. They used their power and the harmony of their voices to destroy illusions and take away the true power that hides inside the artifact. However, despite all the difficulties overcome, when the heroes finally freed the artifact from its dungeon, the earth shook and the temple began to collapse. They realized that they had only a few minutes left to get out of there. But at that moment they felt the heavy gaze of an unknown force that was not going to let them go just like that. At the last moment, the collapsed ruins of the temple discovered a new secret, a hidden tomb under the very foundation of the old building. Underground, a maze of tombs opened up, strewn with artifacts and ancient relics. As if it were destined by fate, every single one of them was covered in darkness, breathing antiquity and oblivion. The heroes had to explore these forgotten places, hoping to find a way out of this underground maze. But the further they penetrated into the depths of the tomb, the more they felt a sense of anxiety and fear. The dark, shadowy figures and ghosts of their ancestors seemed to come alive before the eyes of the heroes. Their whispers and eerie laughter filled the air with despondency. As they approached one of the ancient tombs, they suddenly heard a dead howl. They turned around and saw bony figures rising from the ground, led by an unknown force. The heroes realized that if they failed to find their way within a very short time, this entire maze would turn into their grave. They continued to search for a way out, but the tunnels led them deeper and deeper into the darkness of the tombs, and it seemed that there was not the slightest chance to get out of here. Surrounded by the living dead, the heroes realized that now only a miracle can save them. Under the pressure of their inner fear, the heroes found inexhaustible strength and were able to scare away the attacking dead. They continued their search for an exit and suddenly came across a hidden door in one of the walls. They rushed to it and together they were able to open it. Behind the door, the heroes discovered a long-forgotten tunnel leading to the surface. The perseverance and determination of the heroes were finally rewarded, and they got out of the underground maze unhindered. Surrounded by fresh air and light, they realized that they had overcome their fears and rebelled against the evil that lurked in the dark depths. But most importantly, the heroes managed to learn a lesson from their journey. Fortitude and unity can overcome any darkness. Under the rain of stars, the townspeople welcomed the heroes who returned home reunited and strengthened, able to overcome any challenges. They now possessed the wisdom and power to break the curse that had destroyed their city. Returning to the place where their adventures began, they used an ancient artifact to heal the city from dark magic, and filled it with light and life again. The heroes became the embodiment of hope and wisdom, and their story remained alive in the hearts of the residents of the city, for whom they were the embodiment of kindness and courage. They had to pay the price for their victories, but they knew that their resilience in the face of evil was worth it. Their city was now saved and protected.